Welcome to this explainer. Look, we're literally living through one of the most massive financial transitions in human history right now. For decades, our relationship with money was pretty straightforward, wasn't it? You earned a salary, deposited in a traditional bank, swiped a card, and trusted the government to manage the currency. But today, right before our eyes, that entire system is being rapidly, completely rewritten.
Now, if you're watching the news, it's super easy to feel overwhelmed. You hear buzzwords like Bitcoin, stablecoins, and decentralized finance, and it sparks a very real, very urgent question. Is traditional banking disappearing completely? A lot of people hear this stuff and panic, thinking tech is going to entirely replace human banks overnight. But the reality is actually far more fascinating. We aren't seeing a total erasure of the old world. Instead, it's an evolution. We're looking at a future where both systems combine and work together.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for decoding all this complex jargon into simple, empowering concepts. First up, the evolution of money. 2, crypto and blockchain explained. 3, digital cash and DeFi. 4, the historic leapfrog opportunity. And finally, surviving the financial future. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The evolution of money, from barter to digital.
Think of the global financial system like a massive transportation network. But instead of moving passengers, it's designed to move value safely between people, businesses, and governments. And just like any network, it needs a serious upgrade over time. I mean, we didn't start with bank accounts. We used barter, then we moved to coins, then paper money, and eventually plastic cards. Today, we are simply entering the next logical era, digital money. For the very first time in history, value can move globally without relying on a traditional bank acting as a toll booth.
So why do we actually need this digital upgrade? Well, because our current system has some pretty serious bottlenecks. Sure, it works well enough for a lot of us, but this transportation network can be painfully slow. International transfers often take 3 to 5 days. Plus, it's expensive because every single middleman takes a cut along the way. Worst of all, it leaves millions of people completely excluded from basic financial services, just because they lack documentation or don't live near a bank branch. Throw in inflation and currency instability that constantly eats away at your purchasing power, and it becomes crystal clear. We desperately need a faster, cheaper, more inclusive way to move our money.
Moving on to Section 2, Crypto and Blockchain Explained, the new engines of finance. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the core tech. You absolutely do not need to be a programmer to understand blockchain. Just picture a giant notebook placed right in the middle of a public square. Millions of people around the world own identical, perfectly synced copies of this notebook. Every single time a new transaction happens, it's instantly written into every notebook at the exact same time. And because everyone is watching the public square, nobody can secretly erase or alter past entries. That is the genius of blockchain. It's a completely transparent, permanent way to build trust without needing one central boss. And this brings us to a huge, fundamental shift, moving from centralized to decentralized systems. Imagine a centralized system as one giant office that controls absolutely everything, just like your traditional bank. If somebody trips over a server wire or the office closes for a long holiday weekend, your services totally stop. A decentralized system, on the other hand, is like thousands of small offices working together globally. The control is shared across the entire network, completely removing that single point of failure and making the whole system incredibly resilient.
So, what does this actually look like in practice? Demystifying this is key. Sending digital money is surprisingly simple. Step 1. You open your digital wallet. Step 2. Enter the recipient's digital address. Step 3. Hit send. That's your part. Then, Step 4. The decentralized network of computers we just talked about verifies the transaction to ensure there's absolutely no fraud. Once it's verified, Step 5. The funds are received. That's it. You literally just sent money across the globe, probably in minutes, skipping the traditional bank and their high fees entirely.
Section 3, Digital Cash and DeFi, or Banking Without Banks.
Okay, let's clear up a massive point of confusion for beginners, the difference between crypto and CBDCs. Cryptocurrency is totally independent. It's not controlled by any government, which is exactly why its price can fluctuate so wildly based on the market. On the flip side, we have CBDCs, which stands for Central Bank Digital Currencies. This is digital cash created and completely controlled by a country's government. If a nation issues a digital currency, it holds the exact same stable value as their physical paper money, just in a purely digital format. Now, the rollout of CBDCs has sparked an intense global debate. We aren't here to pick sides, but we absolutely have to look at both perspectives drawn directly from our sources. On the benefits side, CBDCs promise lightning-fast payments, much lower operational costs, and the incredible potential to bring unbanked citizens directly into the mainstream economy. However, because this is government-issued digital cash, there are intense, valid concerns. Critics point to severe privacy risks since transactions can be tracked, major centralized cybersecurity vulnerabilities, and a heavy dependence on having an internet connection just to buy basic daily necessities.
So while governments are busy building CBDCs, the internet itself is building DeFi, that's Decentralized Finance, and DeFi is powered by something called smart contracts. You can think of a smart contract as a robot that follows instructions flawlessly. If you want to rent a house in the old system, a human middleman has to manually verify your payment. But with a smart contract, the very second you send the funds, the agreement activates automatically and you get the digital key. Boom! No human middleman needed. This exact tech allows people to lend, borrow, and trade assets 24/7 entirely without a traditional bank.
Section 4. The Historic Leapfrog Opportunity. Africa's Financial Moment.
And this brilliantly illustrates a massive opportunity for demographics like Africa's young, heavily smartphone-enabled population. They are uniquely positioned to benefit from a concept called leapfrogging. This simply means skipping older clunky systems entirely and adopting modern tech right away. Think about how so many communities totally skipped the expensive process of installing landline telephone poles and just jumped straight to mobile phones. The exact same thing is poised to happen with finance. Africa has this historic, incredible opportunity to completely bypass legacy banking infrastructure and plug straight into a modern global digital economy.
The real-world impact of this is immediate and it's life-changing. A market trader in Lagos can now accept digital payments instantly, completely skipping the risks of handling physical cash. A student in Accra can tap directly into highly paid global tech careers like blockchain development. Families can receive much cheaper international transfers, meaning they get to keep way more of their hard-earned money. Suddenly, local entrepreneurs aren't boxed in by geographic borders anymore. They instantly become global participants with access to international loans and a worldwide customer base. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5. Surviving the Financial Future, the Survival Guide.
Listen, with all this incredible innovation comes some very real risk. We absolutely have to talk about the dark side. Because the money is moving online, the cybercriminals are following right behind it. But honestly, the biggest threats aren't usually hacks on the technology itself. It's how human beings get manipulated. You have got to be on high alert for Ponzi schemes and these incredibly slick fake investment platforms. Remember this rule of thumb. Any platform promising you guaranteed profits or instant wealth is almost always a scam, specifically targeting beginners. Combine that with phishing attacks trying to steal your passwords and the massive dangers of emotional investing driven by fear and greed, yeah, you have to keep your guard up.
So the crucial point is this: to protect yourself and actually thrive, you need a practical everyday plan. Step 1, become a lifelong learner. Education is literally your greatest armor right now. Step 2, actively build your digital skills, starting with just the basics of online security. Step 3, relentlessly protect your online identity. Use strong, unique passwords and always turn on two-factor authentication. Step 4, keep building a traditional emergency fund so you can weather the crazy volatile moments. And Step 5, diversify your income. Never, ever rely on just one single source.
I want to leave you with this incredibly powerful quote straight from the source material. Technology will not decide your future. Your decisions will. The people who come out on top in this new era won't necessarily be the ones who hold the most wealth today. They're going to be the ones who are the most adaptable. Your willingness to learn, to stay curious, and to embrace these shifts, that is your ultimate protection against being left behind.
Look, the future of the global financial system isn't some distant sci-fi event. It is happening right now. It's on our phones, it's in our local markets, and it's sweeping across the globe. The tools are out there, and the knowledge is totally available to you. So I have to ask, are you ready to learn, or will you be left behind? The choice is entirely yours. Keep learning, stay curious, and take control of your financial future. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.